Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. The unplanned and unpredicted events of life tend to hit the hardest. Pretty much anything that happens out of the blue is gonna have stronger meaning, if for no other reason than just the shock of something unexpected happening. And when it comes to pro wrestling, the truly surprising may not come that often, but when it does, sure as shit can hit hard too. I'm D-Wigger from Watch WWE, and these are the 10 unscripted emotional WWE moments that brought fans to tears. Number 10. Edge's retirement. While he may never have been the top dog at any point in his career, Edge was undoubtedly one of the most prominent and important names during his time within the WWE. Surpassing his career heel status and becoming a beloved babyface veteran by his final years, the rated R superstar's retirement might have come as a shock to some, if not most.
The WWE wanted me to go get more tests, and thankfully I did. Because the MRIs showed that I have to retire.
Edge had very serious neck problems all throughout his time in the squared circle, though no one expected a single rogue spear gone wrong to put him out of action for good. And damn it, that fucking retirement speech. Number 9, Christian's world title victory. Hey, who said emotional had to mean depressing? Well, a stark majority of this list, but Christian helped Edge to prove that light could be found at the end of any good tunnel by turning his crappy situation into one with some positive ramifications. While Edge had to retire and therefore vanquish his World Heavyweight Championship, that left the door wide open for his best friend Christian to capitalize and finally win the big one, with his best friend's support aiding him to that victory.
And trust me, I know what this feels like. It's the best feeling you're ever gonna have in your professional career.
Sure, it is kind of one of those, would Ray have ever won the big one if Eddie didn't die scenarios? And let's be real here, Christian had even less of a chance than Ray had at becoming a top dog, but that did not stop the moment from having some genuine emotion behind it, especially with Edge's story and Edge right behind him.
Christian, to finally reach the pinnacle, to finally become the World Heavyweight Champion and embracing his best friend, Edge.
Number 8, Kiss of the Punk. Yet another one of those happier moments that managed to pull out all the emotions. Money in the Bank 2011 ended on one of the highest notes we have ever seen from a WWE pay-per-view. John Cena, CM Punk, Jesus Christ. With that fantastic Punk's walking out with the title storyline to boot, and a 5-star worthy classic giving Punk the victory in his hometown of ever so proud and ever so loud Chicago, all of the elements came together to create one of the most surreal and emotional moments in WWE, especially for that live hometown crowd. When Punk thwarted a Del Rio Money in the Bank cash-in and Punk, hanging off the barricades, blew that kiss to Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I mean, fuck, Jesus, dude, the chills. Just imagine the chills if you were in that arena. Number 7, the end of an era. WrestleMania 27. Yeah, bit shit when you look back on it. Generally, the one and only good thing regarded by all fans that night was Undertaker Triple H. So naturally, the only good thing ended up getting a sequel. In what would actually be the pair's third WrestleMania matchup, Trips, Taker, and HBK all stepped inside Hell in a Cell and came out of it somehow changed. Before the match, there was a rivalry, yet afterwards, oddly, peace.
Oh, shot on the count, the tombstone, the count, and the 3!
As the three men neared the ramp, all qualms appeared to be settled, and the three embraced each other with a raising of the hands and a hug, a true sign of respect. This truly was not the end of an era. Saudi Arabia can attest. However, this impromptu moment sure as shit did feel like the real deal.
It is the end of an era.
A standing ovation from 78,363.
Number 6, Shawn Michaels' retirement speech. And speaking of ending eras, when HBK realized that his was almost entirely coming to a close, that one last saying goodbye became one of the hardest things in the world for him to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels has left the building.
Maybe it's a little bit cheap for a list like this, but I'll be damned to find someone who loves pro wrestling and doesn't feel some kind of way with the full speech, even with 2018's hindsight. Michaels clearly spoke from the gut, and when you rack up a number of years in this business like he has, you're gonna have plenty to say. Number 5, I'm sorry, I love you. God fucking damn it, Shawn. Get away from my emotions already, please. Embracing the end twice in a row just wasn't good enough, was it? You had to go and kill Ric Flair's career too, didn't you? Well, while I can't admit this one affects me the least of the last 3, given that Flair just isn't from the same timeline as me in any watching way, I'd be damned not admitting it is by far the most objectively emotional moment of the 3. That impromptu line that Michael states that, I'm sorry, I love you, right before shoving his shoes straight through Old Yeller's skull. I mean, god damn, that's powerful in 2 ways.
Flair wants to fight. Oh, my God, what a shot!
Number 4, The Undertaker hugs Ric Flair. In the last entry, I explained that Flair's retirement in itself wasn't really all that sad to me, and yeah, I do have to stand by that. While both him and Michaels were wrestling throughout the 2000s, only one of those 2 wasn't really a mistake. HBK's felt real to me because I'd seen some of his best work, but while Flair's retirement didn't hit me as hard, it definitely had the biggest moment in it. The Undertaker has generally never broken kayfabe, and this is coming from a dude who managed to weasel 10 different ways he broke kayfabe into a list that you can go watch right now, so you better believe it when I say this is the only time he ever really broke character inside the ring. Number 3, the body slam heard around the world. This one's bullshit.
We're seeing what this guy is really made of. Why he is the greatest professional athlete in the world today.
Now this one's a bit interesting. To the everyday non-wrestling fan, and even likelier to the folks who do watch, if there was ever one truly iconic moment in professional wrestling history, it'd have to be the body slam heard around the world, right? When Hulk Hogan picked up Andre the Giant for the first time ever on nationalized television and not on smaller, far less talked about territories, it broke down the walls of not just matches with Andre, but what a moment really meant in pro wrestling. WrestleMania 3 was breaking down them walls like a Jericho, so it's gotta be kinda wild knowing in hindsight that this moment, the moment, was an audible called by McMahon during the match, which the ref relayed onto Hogan. It was not pre-planned. Supposedly, Andre barely even knew what was going on when suddenly he was hoisted off of his feet, but that part's probably just a myth. The rest, though, holy shit.
Look at this. He's
Number 2, Jerry Lawler's heart attack.
This is a real life situation. My broadcast colleague, Jerry the King Lawler, earlier on tonight collapsed.
Just over 7 years ago, on the September 10th, 2012 edition of Monday Night Raw, Jerry Lawler was commentating alongside Michael Cole before suddenly suffering a heart attack. He collapsed and was rushed to the back before immediately being taken to get medical attention. Michael Cole did a damn good job holding back everything while alerting the fans at home into just what was going on. Clearly holding back a lot of emotion, and fair enough, the dude's close friend could have very easily died that night. Thankfully, he survived, and the King is still kicking it and getting attacked by the Fiend in 2019.
We are being told that Jerry Lawler's condition has stabilized, that Jerry Lawler is breathing on his own, and his heart is beating on his own.
And number 1, Owen Hart's death. If you thought watching Cole hold back tears was hard, god damn, you really have to feel for Jim Ross. Owen Hart was probably the single most beloved wrestler backstage. Every single time you hear him get brought up, it's about how lighthearted, jovial, and just straight up fun he was to be around. A true life of delight in every sense of the phrase that I just made up. Owen Hart will be remembered no matter how long WWE denies his Hall of Fame entrance. Unfortunately, though, there will always be the clip of Jim Ross announcing his passing. And fuck me if it isn't just genuinely haunting.
I have the unfortunate responsibility let everyone know that Owen Hart has died.
And those are 10 unscripted, emotional WWE moments that brought the fans to the tears. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and notifications, like that bell.